It is 7 points from a possible 9 for the Addicts, and Michael Appleton was certainly looking to build on what was a fantastic 3-1 win against Wycombe Wanderers last week. Things are on the up. And the lads go to Crowd Meadow today to take on a Shrewsbury team that have been struggling for form. Matt Taylor's side started the season well, but he yet to score a goal in September and sit just one place behind Charlton in the league. Less than 30 minutes until kick-off, plenty to discuss. Here is just a taster. We'll hear from the Addicts head coach Michael Appleton, who spoke to Charlton TV ahead of today's game. It was a team photo day at the Valley this week, and Charlton TV got an exclusive look behind the scenes. And midfield dynamo Louie Watson impressed supporters and those in the studio on his full home league debut last weekend. We'll hear from him before kick-off. A very warm welcome to everybody. Don't forget, it's just £10 to live stream today's game if you're watching outside of the UK and Ireland. So please do that if you can and support the lads from afar. Joining me today, the ever-reliable Brownie, and delighted to say we can now say the ever-reliable Liz because he's turned up on time. Kevin Lisbie. Kev, how was the Blackwall Tunnel today? It was closed, wasn't it?
It was actually closed, but due to obviously my mistakes last weekend, I've made sure I left my house on time. So I am here. I'm here and I'm here on time.
Brilliant, and looking good, I have to say.
Yeah, better shirt this week. Yeah. Still in third spot though. He's still third spot.
Don't start on shirts, Brown.
Better try. He's still third.
People in glass houses, although I do like that shirt.
It's a nice
today.
shirt.
Silly question, I know, Brownie, but Ryder Cup, you've been watching? What you made of it?
I've been watching, and yeah, I think they're having a decent comeback as we speak. But they've been absolutely battered. Yeah, I've been texting one Mike Amman out in the States. He's not come back with a lot at the moment. He's on the back foot.
We played on Monday, didn't we? It wasn't quite Ryder Cup golf.
No. It was not bad standard.
You were very good, I have to say. No, you were good. Liz, are you into golf at all?
No. The lads did try. While I was there, they did try to get me to go to a few golf days, but I chose to sit in the bar and have a drink while they played their golf.
I think during the playing days I would have been with you, but since taking out with him now, I'm actually really enjoying it. Anyway, let's talk a little bit of football, shall we? It's a nice little run we're on, 3 matches unbeaten. The emphasis on the word little because it is only 3 games, but another opportunity to extend that today, isn't it?
Yeah, against a team that are seriously out of form. But I thought last week's game was a bit of a marker thrown down because I thought it was one where if we drew or lost, it was groans, same old, you know. And we haven't. We've come through a quite a difficult game against not a bad side who were in very good form at the time and comfortably won the game in the end, 3-1 with 3 points. So I think that was a good marker last week. If you can extend the unbeaten run this week in what looks like on paper a much weaker side than we faced last week as an opponent, it could be good news by the end of the day. But
with Charlton,
doesn't work like
that, does it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. What impressed you most about last week's victory, Liz?
I agree with Brownie. I thought last week was definitely a marker put down, and I like the way we attacked. Personally, I felt there was a real pace about what we did. We looked dangerous at times, and it was consistent. And I think that I've been in a few games, and it didn't look for me as we was going to be as consistent as we was last Saturday. And I feel like we created a lot of chances, and it's nice to get some goals at the end of the game, showing the lads are fit enough to produce and score goals at the end of the game. But yeah, I'm really impressed. Just defensively, I'd like us to just maybe sharpen up a little bit at the back, but if we do that, I think we'll create chances and score goals.
And before we hear from him, what have you made of the start that Michael Appleton has made?
Yeah, okay, so there was a point in the game last week where we played a straight ball into midfield, lost it, we were quite open, and they sort of reverted back into a nice tight back four quite quickly, didn't see that ball again. And I sort of said last week that I think in previous weeks we would have seen the team continue to try to play out that way, and it seemed to stop immediately. So I think in terms of what we're asking the defence to do is actually their jobs rather than jobs they were uncomfortable doing. And I thought actually, despite that 20-minute period in the second half where Wycombe dominated a little bit and got the equaliser, I thought we defended our box from set pieces quite well last week because they were dangerous from set pieces. So I thought we stepped up a little bit. I agree with Kev. I think it's still work to do defensively. But I like the way we weren't left exposed at times, which we have done sort of earlier on in the season. Yeah,
I thought at times we played really, really well. And a 1-1, when they were on top, maybe earlier in the season or last season, would have lost that game. And actually they hung in there and then found a way to win. So fair play to them. Okay, reminder for those at home watching on YouTube and Twitter to get your live streaming pass now for just £10 to be able to watch Charlton TV's production of today's game, if, of course, you are living outside of the UK. Let's crack on now, shall we, and hear from the manager, Michael Appleton, who spoke to Charlton TV a little bit earlier.
Michael, we're here in Shropshire for the game against Shrewsbury Town. You've made 2 changes to the starting lineup. Do you want to talk us through those?
Yeah, I think just to give us a little bit more of a balance when the ball gets turned over. You know, for as much as we were a threat and we were potent going forward last week, I think in the middle of the park sometimes on that turnover we find ourselves try to defend a counter-attack very quickly too many times. So you know, we've gone 2 at the base there with Terry and Dobbo, and TC more of a 10, so more of an attack-minded role. And obviously at that full-back position, James has done great for us for a couple of games, but you know, he is a centre half, and you know, there's certain things that tonight can give to us that James isn't able, and hopefully we'll see that today. You
must be really pleased with Tenai coming, having a couple of under-21 outings, but then coming on last game and impressing. Yeah, and he's a good footballer. You know, the reality is the only thing that sort of stopped him and his career going any further than what it has done is injuries. So, you know, we want to make sure that we get as many minutes as we possibly can out of him today, whether he's capable of coming through. Obviously 90 minutes, you know, time will tell, but we have got Nathan obviously on the bench who's more than capable, as we know, to step in. Yeah, and speaking of the bench, a couple of changes on the bench as well, including Nathan, who you just mentioned, and a certain Scott Fraser. Yeah, I mean, obviously from Nathan's point of view, like I say, he gives us a few options, but Scott, you know, listen, he's arguably one of the best midfield players in the league, in my opinion, so to have him around, to get any type of game time from him today, depending on how the result is going, obviously, will be a big boost for everybody. You've arrived here and the weather has turned a little bit, so I think summer is officially over. It's been raining quite hard out there, slippery. Does that make any difference to the way you set up for the game? Not massively. I think obviously you look at the pitch, it's in decent nick. It's still early in the season. I still think there'll be a decent true roll to the ball, or we certainly hope so. If not, obviously we'll look at that. But no, our approach will be, you know, to be as hard as we possibly can and try and obviously get the 3 points which we're looking for. And hoping from your point of view to go 3 unbeaten since you've arrived, maybe send home the small but certainly dedicated number of fans who have made their way here, what with the train strikes and everything, all the other difficulties they faced. Yeah, and we're very, very appreciative of that, obviously, because you know, I've been involved with it myself with the train strikes, and what a nightmare, probably going from this side of the country down into London. So for them to sort of turn up today is a big webonus and boost for the players. Cheers for joining us, Michael. Good luck. Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, it certainly is. Don't want to tell Michael it's still nice and sunny down here in London, but the weather a little bit different up there. So 2 changes from last week. Louie Watson, who impressed last week and set up our winner, comes in at right back. Terry Taylor is in there to make us more solid in midfield, with TC playing as that number 10 in what still is a 4-2-3-1. So, Liz, you talked about being more solid defensively. Will that extra man in front of the back four help?
Yeah, I feel yesterday, when I spoke about being a little bit more defensively solid, I felt in terms of as a team, and I think him coming in there might secure us a little bit. And maybe it's just something he wants to do away from home, or maybe he looked at last week's game and thought, in transition, as he just said, we looked a little bit more vulnerable, so he's going to shore it up a little bit. But it'll be interesting to see if this is a ploy he does for every away game, or is this something he's looking at long term?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. Yeah. Scott Fraser back in the squad as well. He's on the bench, as in Nathan Asimwe as well. Both of those coming back from injury. So again, we have options, you know. But in terms of us going forward, Brownie, how do you see it?
Well, going forward, look, I think he's offered, you know, a bit more stability behind the ball, so it allows a bit more freedom to the four to stay high. So if you want Lieburn to come off the wing and stay up with Alfie May a little bit, you should have that 2 sitting, which offers you that bit more stability, so you're not so scared about being done on the counter. So that makes perfect sense. I'm not surprised the right backs come in. He looked very impressive when he came on Watson. Louie Watson, I thought he did okay. So, but that purely is a tactical move, you know, in terms of he feels Terry Thomas will do a better defensive job, perhaps. But yeah, I think in terms of, I still think May would be the one behind and Campbell wide and Lieburn down the centre, but he trains with him every day, so he's seeing something, isn't he, in Tyrese, that he likes in that 10 spot, about receiving, taking on the back foot and driving forward, and he just got great pace. Perhaps he's just trying to develop him in that area, giving him 2 or 3 games to really showing what he can do in that 10 role. But yeah, I'm excited because I think if you look at that bench, it's a really experienced bench. It's a decent bench. You can do a lot with it. You know, you think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were looking at that bench and it just looked like a bunch of kids. And now there's a vast amount of experience on there. And look, I've said this before, you know, timing in football, you know, is everything. And you know, our previous manager, Dean Holden, wished he'd have had all these players available. You know, I mean, it just looks like a much stronger outfit now already, and we're only 3 weeks further down the line.
I'll come on to Louie Watson a little bit later on because we will be hearing from him, so we can talk specifically about him, whether you think it was harsh or not, him not playing. But going forward, there is a bit of a conundrum there, isn't it? Where you've got Miles as a striker, you've got Alfie as a striker, you've got Corey who's a winger, and how do you get them all in? And there's TC now in there. Yeah,
I think as Brownie just said, the manager sees them in training and he sort of knows what they can do and what they can't do, their capabilities and how it would fit in the team. And I think he's looked at Lee Byrne and thought maybe, yeah, he is a number 9. But he can actually do that role on the wing, which he showed last week. Do
you think he can, and do you think you're losing a bit? I mean, can you understand the fudging here? Because someone's got to be playing a little bit out of position. Yeah, Brownie's come up with a different sort of front four.
Yeah, I mean, what Brownie touched upon it last week or so, if the right back gets high today, then maybe he can play a little bit more centrally. And as you say, we've got that defensive midfielder now who maybe can cover a little bit of spaces, and it allows Lee Byrne to maybe play a little bit higher and a little bit more central, and then he almost becomes like a number 10 when we're attacking with the right back really high and giving us width. So maybe that's something he's looked at, and I'm hoping to see him more central today, where he can cause his damage. I think anywhere in and around the goal, I think he's really good. I think he's clinical, and it shows in his goals.
Whatever we think, I really like the start that Michael's done. I think he's got a really good blend of old school, but being a good coach as well. And sometimes when you mention the words old school, people kind of a little bit derogatory about it, but you need those sort of values, don't you, to have a bit of resilience? Yeah,
you're a bit ignorant if you ignore what was going on in the past. Absolutely. I mean, there are fundamentals in football that, I've said this before, they were in place in 1950 and they'll be in place in 2050. Right? It's what goes on around that, however you want to sell football at the time. And I've been coaching 20 years now, and I've seen all kinds of words used. There's different words now than there was 10 years ago, but essentially it's the same thing you're seeing. So if a coach who's just getting into coaching now believes what he's hearing is the only way, more for him, right? Because every coach will offer something, and they might talk slightly differently, but they'll have their own experiences that mean they can offer something. So I like what he does in game. All right, so you have your week leading up to the game, which you can do all your coaching. It's not under pressure. You deliver what you want. You look at the opposition on tape, and you design what you want to do to win that game. But then there's an in-game manager, all right, who has to think on his feet. He sees something in 10 minutes. They've changed what they did last week or what's been on the tape that you've watched. He has to assess that within the first 5 minutes.
And he made some subs last week, didn't he?
And adjust it. Yeah, and actually, he did move our front players around. And it did become what we thought it would with Alfie. And it was Alfie who ended up outright, who set up the goal, you know, who was patient in that forward area. But look, there's that in-game management that I think is quite crucial and can win you games, whether it be a substitution, whether it be a change of formation during the game. And I think he's got a good eye.
Yeah. And you talk about strength in depth as well on the bench. James Mbankwa, Karoy Anderson and Chem Campbell not even in the squad or not on the bench as well. So that can only be good. Not for them necessarily, but the strength in depth. OK, it's another full-strength League One fixture list today as well. Let's get stuck into that one. Blackpool had a big 4-1 home win last week and travelled to Barnsley. That includes the league's top scorer, Devante Cole. Derby starting to accumulate results and host Cambridge on the back of last week's 2-0 win at Carlisle. Cheltenham will be looking to end their scoreless start to the season with a trip to Lincoln. Lower down that list, Oxford and Portsmouth, currently in the top 2, playing very well. Oxford face a difficult trip to Steve Evans' Stevenage, and Pompey travel to Wigan. And Brownie, look, it's another interesting day of football in the Sky Bet League One. How impressed have you been with the top 2 so far, Portsmouth and Oxford?
Yeah, I thought Portsmouth were going to feature this year. You know, it's a bit like the Plymouth one last year. You didn't think they were going to be top or they were going to sustain, but they started well. They did make good acquisitions. It's just whether they can sustain it. And today's one, I think, did Wigan get beat heavily last week? Yeah, so I think that's you don't really want to meet a team that gets beat heavily the following week, especially at their home ground. So that is a tough one. Oxford, it's a good marker for Oxford. I think they're a good side this year. Yeah, I do. I thought they were excellent when we played them. And if they can overcome teams like Stevenage, which offer a different kind of opponent, you know, I think you can comfortably say they're in the mix this year.
And Liz, just 7 points separate the top 14.
Yeah.
You know, we're 6 points off the playoffs with a game in hand, albeit there's plenty of teams between us and that position. But you can see it's still tight, and it's probably going to be tight for a very long time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it'll be tight leading up to Christmas, after Christmas, and I think you just want to be in and around it. I think, which is what the manager, I'm sure in his head he'll be thinking, look, let's just get some confidence in the lads, let's get everyone fit. Let's get everyone rearing. Let's have a good, healthy competition within the squad. And then, obviously, as I said, leading up to January, now, if we're in and around and we've got a squad like we have there at the moment, I think there's a real opportunity of pushing into that. I'm not scared of any teams in there, to be honest. I've watched a little bit of League One. I do believe Oxford are a good team. Stevenage, I've watched a few times. They look quite strong in what they do. They understand the game. They've got some senior pros in there, but I still believe if we get a good run going and keep everyone fit, I think we've got a chance.
I agree. Totally.
Yeah, we've said already, haven't we, this league?
I just wanted to see whether there's a nod or a shake.
No, there's a nod.
Do you do that, Stephen?
Okay, brilliant.
100%.
Another fixture this weekend sees the Charlton women's side take on the London City Lionesses at Prince's Park in Dartford tomorrow, while Karen Hills' side are back at the Valley on October the 22nd to take on Crystal Palace. And you can be part of the Charlton support by heading to booking.cafc.co.uk. Back to Charlton, and the club confirmed the appointment of Gavin Carter, Paul Elliott, MBE, CBE, and Andy Scott, Board of Directors this week. The trio joined Global Football Partners Financial Director Ed Warwick and the club's Managing Director James Rodwell on the Charlton board. And from a personal perspective, I know Paul very well indeed. We both played for Charlton and Chelsea, although not at the same time. Almost bought his house. Then he said no. But a great guy, great to see him part of Charlton now as well, making the big decision. So good luck, Paul, and the rest of the board. OK, back to Charlton now and the annual team photograph for the men's first team, and the Charlton TV cameras went this week behind the scenes. Let's take a look.
Right in the middle.
Behind the scenes.
Hello. Yeah.
Saying you're right.
I want you looking like that. Look at that lovely smile.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hi. How's everything?
Very good. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Good.
What's the plan?
Afternoon.
Yeah.
The best looking at the back, smart.
Hello. 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 Ben. Changing room to the left, Michael.
Alright, okay. Come on in, boys.
Just quickly, James, you want to put arms behind your back, that's right. Thank you.
And all give me a big smile.
Brandon, does that take you back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember too many of our photos, but we were a better looking squad than that, weren't we? 100%.
That's very,
I mean, look at that, what a good looking squad that is.
Let's have a look then. Should we go? We asked the Charlton Museum to dig into the archives. Brownie, this is the 93-94 season. Is the hierarchy pretty clear here, or what? Where are you?
I'm back left with Lego hair.
Okay. Where am I?
Where have you? Oh, you're. Oh, it looks like your front row. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move it on now, shall we, to the 2001. You've become a senior pro, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed I wasn't in the front row on the first one, to be honest.
Well, 93, 94, you were still very young.
Very young.
Where's the young Kevin Lisbie?
Next to Snoddins, you see Snoddins? Yeah.
I see what you've done there.
You can't be happy with that, Liz, can you?
I see what you've done there. You've gone next to a short tumble setup to make yourself look slim and good looking, haven't you? That's what you've done there. I see what you've done.
I've just done what I've asked to be done. That's where I'm told to stand, and that's where I stood.
I think it shows where we are in terms of transfer windows, that we're getting towards the end of September and they're taking the photos. OK, back to this season, and even though he's not starting today, Louie Watson certainly impressed in his full league debut for the Addicts against Wycombe, and Charlton TV caught up with the central midfielder early this week.
It was a special day for me, obviously making my home debut as well as my league debut. So yeah, it was a special day. I had the family down to watch me, so it was a lot of emotion, to be honest, because it's now like I'm playing for a South London club. So well, my family's from down this way. So when I asked Tracy for tickets, I'm asking for about 20 a go. So it's quite a good day for the family all to come out and watch me, and it was a special day because obviously you come away with the 3 points, which is most important for the team as well. So yeah, good day all round really. The mood in the camp's pretty good at the minute. Like it's to be expected. Like the last 3 games were unbeaten in the league. It's important we keep that run going in any winning team. You just got to keep a momentum, and at the minute we're unbeaten in 3, and we just got to keep doing that. The boys have been so good with me. Like I knew a couple before coming in. James Abankwa I knew, and well, he's friends with one of my friends at Udinese, so it was quite easy to get into contact with him. George Dobson was at West Ham with me, so, and him being the skipper as well, he's kind of integrated me with the group. And then I had a couple of lads who I know, a couple of their friends, so it was quite easy for me to like integrate with the lads. And I mean the group anyway, like not knowing some of them, they've all been so nice and so welcoming, so it's been easy for me to just do what I need to do on the pitch, come in every day with a smile on my face and just enjoy myself really. The gaffer's been class. Since the first day he came in, he's just really put like an emphasis on like giving 110% every single day, whether it's training, whether it's games, whether it's recovery, whether we're in doing analysis. Like it's important that we do push each other as well. Like if the standards do drop, that we all look at each other and hold each other accountable. And I think the fans will get to see that a lot more now as well, especially with like, the last couple of games going the way they're going. I think we're definitely improving as a group. Going into the game, the gaffer, he just really said, like, he gave me a couple of pointers of how to get onto the ball, how to disrupt their team, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. That's what I'm there to do. Obviously, there's the defensive side of the game and the attacking side of the game, and midfield, you kind of do both sides. So he's gave me some pointers on either side of the game, and but most importantly, he kind of just said to me, go out and express yourself, like go and enjoy yourself. You know you're a good player, so just make sure you get your head down, give 110% like he wants from every player, and the ability of the boys will shine throughout the game anyway. So it was more just get your head down, work hard, and let your ability do the talking really. Last year was a special year for me, and it's like I think for any player that's been involved in something like that, you kind of just you get the feeling of just wanting to do it again. You get addicted to that promotion feeling, and like last year I was involved in 9 games, so to speak. So it's one of them things now. I want to be involved in something like that and be heavily involved. I want to be playing 30-40 games and being promoted, and it'll just add to that promotion. But like I said, it's just an addictive feeling really. Like last year was such a special year, and being involved in something like that so young, it's a special moment really. And like my career so far, I've been involved in relegation, I've been involved in promotion, I've been involved in administration, so I've kind of seen it all really. Even though I'm only 22, I've kind of experienced a lot, so I think I know what experience I want to do now, and that's a promotion. Like first team football compared to academy football is like a lot to do with mentality. The boys, when you get onto the pitch in the first team game, at the end of the day it's all about winning, getting the 3 points. Like that's what clubs strive to do, and in academy football it can become tippy-tappy, you have it, we have it. But in first team football it's all about dominating another team and coming away with the 3 points. So I think that's the biggest challenge, knowing that even if you win that game, you get the 3 points, you got to go do it again and again and again. If it's Tuesday, Saturday, like you got to come at the end of the season. If it's 46 games or going into playoffs, or you just got to keep winning and keep that momentum. Even if you lose, you just got to come back even stronger. It's always going to be a hard game. League One, Championship, League Two, Prem. It don't matter where you play really. It's going to be a hard game, so you just got to prepare for that. And I think all the boys know that it's never easy to get 3 points, but in our heads, that's all we're thinking about: 3 points. Going to the next game, getting 3 points, but take one game at a time, should we say? And yeah, we're going there to win. We're not going there to take part. So it should be a good game to look forward to, and I can't wait to really touch pitch again. Really.
Yeah, Liz, he speaks really well. Even when talking, we just wonder whether Brownie could do a walk and talk. His knee would fall off halfway through that.
Just questioning whether Brownie could actually walk and talk at the same time. And that was at least 2-3 minutes of zero chart. But
not even because of his knee, just that's multitasking.
He would refuse.
I would just said, look, get me a chair. All right, we can take our time. All right.
Don't rush me.
Yeah, what's all this?
Anyway,
I'm not walking after the camera.
He does speak very well, and he talks about the fact that he wants to be playing games, 30 to 40 games a season. Yeah.
He also spoke about mentality, and I think that was really key. He seems like he understands the transition from, I don't know, academy football, whether you want to being a professional and turning up every week and performing and getting 3 points and playing well in front of stadiums and crowd where the 3 points are vital. So yeah, he seems like he's got his head screwed on and he understands and he's ready for the journey that's about to happen.
Yeah, he's got the right mental attitude, Brownie. Again, you can touch on what you were saying a little bit earlier. You can understand what Michael's thinking, because we've been talking about whether it's the back four, they've been making mistakes or actually not been getting protection. You can see what the idea Michael's trying to do, but he was good last week, Larry, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he probably will, and what he's just said there, he will feel a little bit, I wish I was still playing.
Absolutely will. Yeah, I mean, we've all been in that position where you've played and you've had a half decent game. It's not like you've let anybody down. You've had a half decent game, and the following week you're left out, and you think, right, okay. We were discussing this off air earlier. Actually, I think it's always on the individual to bounce back and do more, not to look at the team itself and go, oh, this is unfair. No, you're out. How do you get back in? Right, I work harder in training, etc., etc.
Looks like you've got a good attitude,
absolutely.
though, as well.
I was just about to say, it looks like from the character we've seen there, and the attitude and the way he spoke, that's not going to be a problem. I think he's quite driven. So therefore, I think he'll take this one on the chin. It might take it on the chin Tuesday, but then he'll start getting a little bit like, I need to get back in this team. Yeah. So as long as you do that in the right way, Scotty, and we all know, sat here, there's a right way and a wrong way. We've all seen it. If you do it the right way and you're patient, as long as you get the same when you're back in the team. That's all I ever ask for, the same treatment as everybody else.
Yeah, and actually from a manager's point of view, there's competition for places now, and isn't this exactly what any manager would want, especially someone like Michael, to say, OK, this is an away game, we perhaps need to be careful here. Yeah. We can bring someone else in. Again, we talk about our options.
Yeah, I hope the manager sat down and spoke to him and told him why he's not in the squad. I know Curbs never used to do that with me, but...
You didn't get the curly finger? Or just the curly finger, and that was it?
There was too many of us, so sometimes he would just forget about me. But I think it's important that he understands why he's been left out of the side, and he understands that there is, as Brownie said, there's a chance of him getting back in the team. And he's got to do his job. He's got to turn up in training. He's got to perform. And it's also important to understand what the manager wants from you. Maybe the manager never explained exactly what he wanted from him in the games. And hopefully now he sits back, he watches the game, he sees the person that's come in for him, how they play, and hopefully he can take note from that and he'll be a better player for it and get back in the team.
Curbs has just texted, yeah, he did tell you every single time. So it's good.
He's not got no service for it.
I stopped going. I stopped going in the end. Honestly, the reasons were so... I felt I was the worst player in the world by the end of it. He does that better than you. He does that better than you. You don't do this well enough. Just tell me I'm not playing. I'll be all right with that.
That's all you need. The curly thing.
I said, Merv's, I'm all right.
Yeah,
just tell him I'm all right.
I don't need to see him, Merv. Just am I in the squad?
Well, look, the lads are coming out now onto the pitch. What are we expecting here today, Brownie, with the team that we've got picked and with the little run we've got behind us now as well?
I tell you what, the thing is, everybody looks at Shrewsbury's form right now, but they're not bad at home. 1-2 lost 2, 3 goals for, 4 against. This is a tight game. Small margins. Just don't be the team that makes a mistake, because if we get in front now, I think we're a different animal. All right, so I think if we can get our noses in front here, they are really having a torrid time scoring goals.